Good morning, everyone. We'll give folks maybe just one more minute to see if anyone else joins, then we'll get started. We'll be recording this as usual. All right, well, let's get started. I am going to, okay, so we are already recording. So today we're going to be talking about MoxiEngage and just kind of doing a little bit a deeper dive. Certainly, as always, if you have any questions, please throw it in chat, or certainly just unmute yourself. But kind of just going to do an overview. And in we kind of have this schedule set for the rest of this year, but Q1 we're going to start doing sort of like a MoxiEngage 1, MoxiEngage 2.0, and then maybe even a 3.0, but just for folks that want a little bit more. But so kind of look out for that. But right now we're just gonna kind of just get into MoxiEngage, click around, talk about adding folks, and really why we should be using the platform first of all, and then just get in there and talk about how it can help you just daily in your business. So if we log into Leverage and we scroll down to Agent Tools, and then just scroll down towards the bottom, you're going to see MoxiWorks. And then once this screen comes up, we're going to log into MoxiWorks. And again, just logging into Leverage once, even though there's a login to MoxiWorks, it takes you right into the platform. Kind of do this really every time that I kind of pull up MoxiWorks is two things. So this is your dashboard, so sort of your hub, your information, so if you ever see anything kind of wonky with it, please just, make sure you let us know. So, kind of just checking this out. And then also just remember there are 4 main parts of MoxiWorks. So Moxie Present, MoxiEngage, which is where we're going to be in today, of course, your website, and then Moxie Impress. So just remember all 4 parts. Log into MoxiWorks, and then of course they are all right there at your fingertips. So again, we're going to click into Engage, and just kind of a switch to agent mode here. Just to kind of, do something simple here is Engage as a CRM. So it's a customer relationship manager. So ideally when, I see some new folks on the call, which by the way, I love it. When I do my initial call with an agent new to us, I talk about your sphere and developing your sphere, and, and really creating a spreadsheet with everyone, your friends, your family, and whoever else, neighbors, coworkers, people you went to school with, parents, kids, everyone. And the idea is we really just kind of start with an Excel spreadsheet and put first name, last name, phone, email, address, really any info that we have, as much info as we have, and just start creating that spreadsheet. And you're gonna, you start with 10 names, you start, then you get to 20, and, let's just say in the end, you have 200 people in your database, on this Excel spreadsheet. First of all, those are people that, when you're actually putting them in an Excel spreadsheet, as friends and family, and just people, you've met along the way, even past clients, you really just look at it and say, well, these are my people, and we really want to think of it as, if any of these 200 people in the next, just for an example, week, say, I think it's time to buy, sell, invest, whatever, or just as important, they are at work, they are talking to their neighbors, and someone else that they know says, all right, yep, it's time to upsize, downsize, whatever. We want those 200 people to just think of us, and either, hey, you got to call, you got to call Jim, you got to, here's his phone number, whatever. Like that's the most important piece. And when we have all those names together, in one spot, we have 200 people that have our back, that will, essentially give us business, and we can talk to them at any point. So what we do then is we take those 200 people and we bring them into MoxiEngage. Did someone have a question? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So, but yeah, so, so we actually will, take your, your Excel spreadsheet and bring them into MoxiEngage. And the idea with MoxiEngage is, now they're all in one spot. I can pull them up, click a button for any one of them, email them at any point, maybe just, having them in front of me, it's just top of mind. I can pull up my MoxiEngage at any point and look through my 200 people and just say, who should I talk to today? Who haven't I, reached out to and reminded them, hey, I sell real estate. I still sell real estate. I still expect you to remember me if you are going to do something or you hear someone going to do something. And that's really a big piece. Okay, Jenny. So when you initially set up, well, we're gonna have to reset your MoxiEngage.
Okay.
I'm guessing that you used your ERA.com.
Yes.
Okay. So, and when that started going away, we didn't know it was going to happen, and I'm not real thrilled with it, but it sort of reset your MoxiEngage. So what we're going to have to do is just reset it, hook it up with a Gmail, and then we can re-upload any contacts or anything like that.
Okay.
So, but I'll reach out to you after, and we'll kind of get that process started.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so just so now thinking, whether you have one person to add or you have an Excel spreadsheet with 200 people, let's just talk about adding people. So first of all, this is just your dashboard, and you'll see there are 6 categories if you scroll up and down your dashboard. So you can actually, if you want to, if you're going to kind of log in and just want to, which one of these 6 do you really want to see right from the start? And you can just actually move these if you want to. And so your to-do list would be up top. And this will sync with a Google Calendar, the Gmail that you attach. So that's kind of cool too. Not that we necessarily think we're going to log into MoxiEngage to check our calendar, because quite frankly, I'm just going to pull my phone up. But if you're in MoxiEngage, you can just sort of see which one of these, you can scroll down through, but whichever one you want up front, which is the one at least you want to see when you first log in, you have the ability to move those around. Just so you know, this stay and flow is AI driven. So, it is sort of monitoring, if they're doing something, it'll monitor it. If there's been almost no contact, it'll kind of throw them in there. So it's not a bad one to have up top, and it's going to throw some names out to you, each day that, hey, just, I don't, either they're doing something, you might want to reach out and say, hey, or, hey, we haven't heard, haven't done anything much with these folks. You may want to reach out and say, hey, again, I'm still in real estate. Just let me know if you ever need anything. So that's kind of what that is. So when we talk about adding people, if you come up to the people in the menu, I'm actually just going to skip to my people. And what this is going to do is pull up all your folks. So if you've added some folks, if you are adding them, this is where you're just going to have a list of all of them. So everyone you have in your database would show up here. And in the right upper right corner, you'll see a blue add people. So this is where you can add a single contact. So if you're kind of, sort of new to this and you have those 200 people, we don't have to add them one by one. We can import, you go to the second one, you can import contacts. So just know that that's how we're going to do if you have an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of folks. But even after you add those initial 200, you meet someone today, you get a new lead today, you think of someone that you forgot. And like, you'll be driving along, you'll just be thinking of something, you'll be on social, and someone will just pop to mind. Like, oh man, I haven't added, Nolan to my database. So you can come in and add a single contact at that point. But this import contacts, so I'm going to just click this, and really all this is looking for is your file. So if you've ever, and really we have a bunch of folks in the offices, that can help you with this. So if you are wanting to do it and haven't done it, or just not quite sure, don't be afraid to ask. And I'm happy to help as well, for this. But what this is a CSV file. So really you have an Excel spreadsheet, you're putting first name, last name, phone, email, and we just save it as a CSV file. And then that allows us to import it. So anytime you export, import contacts, no matter where, it's always going to kind of put it in that CSV file. But the one thing I want to show you is this. You'll see in the very first sentence, download this CSV file. If you actually click on this, what that's going to do is open up an Excel spreadsheet, and it's going to be the exact format that you want your database to be in, so that you can bring it right into MoxiEngage. So super important. So if you were to go to Gmail and export some contacts from Gmail, and really anywhere that you export from, they're just always in a different format. It can be as simple as first name, last name for one, and then the next one you export or try to import, it's last name, first name. In where you're going to import it, they just need to be in the exact format. So if you download this CSV file, it's blank, but it's got headings, and it's first name, middle name, last name, phone, whatever. And that's kind of the format that you want to use. And then if you save it as a CSV, you can come in and select it. And in, depending on how many folks you bring in, if you're bringing in 200 people, in a matter of minutes, you'll have 200 people in your database. And if it's 2,000, it just takes a little bit longer. So that's just a matter of a way of adding contacts. And just to quick show you, this single contact, again, if you're good and you just want to add folks like this, go for it. But at least first name, last name, and really it will let you add just phone or just email. But I mean, just think about this, like, we're going to be using this platform to say hi to folks and remind folks that, we're still here and we're still in real estate. The more info you have the first time you do this, the better. So if you don't have a phone but have an email, it's really a good idea to figure out the phone. Or, if you don't have an email, you can, reach out to them, say hi, remind them you're in real estate, just tell them you're updating your database, and would love to make sure I have the most current contact info for them. But ideal that we add as much info as possible, because I mean, we're going to have this database, from day one to year 20. In the more data we have in it, the better we're going to be, able to send emails and quick send an email, or quick, call someone type thing. So just remember, adding as much info from the start, the better. And then really, whether you go this far, I don't know too many people, but just random people that have websites. So, no need to do that unless you wanted to add it for a certain person. Probably the one thing that I certainly would do would be to maybe look at this date, where you can add a date. So, I mean, it's always nice if you get reminded of a birthday or an anniversary, or really there's a custom one. So you could call it really anything that you want. You can put in kids' birthdays or whatever. The house anniversary. So if you have sold a house to someone, it's awesome to put in there that on October 28th you sold it. So next year on October 28th, it's going to remind you. It's going to be in your calendar. You can reach out to John and Sue and say, hey, it's been a year, can you believe it? You know, not super impressive when you do it year one, but when you're congratulating them on 8 years in their house on the day they closed, they really start noticing it. So just think about that years down the road, or just, you know, like they forget, you know, they're like, yeah, we bought in, you know, in October sometime, or don't even think about it. And then you're sending them a message, you know, can you believe it's been 8 years? So, you know, again, whatever info you can put in here, the better, because it's just going to put you in a position to remember something, you know, a reason to reach out to them, a reason for them to go, I can't believe that you remembered it's been, you know, 8 years. In the idea, you know, we have to realize that there is zero chance of us remembering that. You know, when we get to 10 houses sold, 20 houses sold, 30 houses sold, you know, we're just not going to remember that. So having the, you know, having them in the system and actually taking a second and putting that date in there, you know, is going to set us up down the road. So again, whatever you wanted to, you know, to add to this, but, you know, the more info, the better. So that is just, you know, adding folks into MoxiEngage. So just a couple things, you know, I tell you that your friends and family have to come in this system. And I say that there's nothing going to be sent from this system unless you tell it to. So, you know, your good friends and your close family, you know, can be reached out to in a different way than, you know, somebody in your database that said, hey, I'm gonna, you know, I'm thinking about selling in the spring. You're gonna hammer them, you know, but you need to figure out how, you know, how often do I need to reach out to John? You know, he's a really good friend. He's gonna remember I sell real estate, whatever, you know. So each one can be on a totally different plan. But you know, there's nothing worse than walking up to someone, you know, at a family event, or at some sort of event, and they just start talking about, oh, we just listed our house, or we just bought a house. In you know, it's happened to all of us, you know, and you just look at them like, excuse me, you know, and I'll say it over and over. It's up to me to stop and realize, like, yeah, when was the last time I talked to John? Did I just assume John remembered I sell real estate? Like, and I haven't reminded him, I haven't sent him a newsletter, I haven't, you know, I haven't reached out with a handwritten note, you know, whatever, you know. It's up to us to, you know, have them in the system, and then for us to determine, hey, how often, what do I want to send this person versus this person versus this person. So kind of important to realize that. But when I say friends, you know, close friends, close family, they should be in here, but we can decide how we want to reach out to them. Just I'll click on this calendar, but again, it is, you know, it is linked to your, you know, the Google that you've linked to the system. So if you know, if you do have anything and want to use that, you know, your calendar will be there. This goal section, it is one of the sections on the first, you know, first section, one of those six, but you can actually enter your goals, which is kind of the perfect time, whether you know, add them for 2024 and kind of want to, you know, close out, you know, or obviously start focusing on 2025, but it will track your, you know, buyer side, seller sides, and your average commission and your average, you know, commission rate. And so it's really a neat little thing to kind of pop in here, keep yourself, you know, on pace, or it'll let you know if you're low, and, you know, after 1 month, you should have had, you know, 3 deals, or whatever your, you know, whatever your goals are. It'll let you know if you've hit it or you're short, you know, what you know, and then of course you can decide what you might want to do moving forward. And then we're going to dabble in this a little bit more after we click on a person, but the campaigns are in here. So, you know, we're going to talk about a neighborhood news, which is the #1 thing that I would send to everyone in your database. but campaigns are an option. So, just be aware, they can be written well, but there's still a form email. So, some of these tend to be the campaigns just in general, same thing with my phone, that someone might unsubscribe to or kind of get annoyed with. So if you're going to find a campaign to just, it used to be, I'll just throw them something. So they're, even if they delete the email, they're going to think of me, and it's changed. It's changed to our folks really just want some value. So, some folks like, the seasonal reminders. Some folks like, there are some campaigns in here about, preparing your home to sell, which can be valuable if I'm thinking about selling. So there are some good ones, but if you just this can be blank if you've kind of logged in for the first time. If you come up to the upper right, you'll see a dark blue ad from library. So if I click that, here are a bunch of campaigns that were created that you can just scroll through. And if you want to look at it, you can hit the preview. If it's something you like and you kind of want to use it or potentially use it, you can go to the next column and it says add to campaigns. And then it will come into your campaign section. Otherwise, they're just all sitting here. So, like I said, home buying tips, this real estate investing 101, again, can be valuable, for certain folks. So, and you can bring in as many as you want. And then it's just a matter of going to the campaign. And let me do that real quick. If I just kind of pulled this one up, again, you can preview it. You can edit the schedule. So you'll see this one's due is 6 emails every 30 days. You can edit the schedule and make it every 60 days, just whatever. And then you can set up who to email it to. So it can be everyone. You can grab 5 names. You can grab a group. And we'll talk about groups in a second as well. So kind of a quicker version of the campaigns, but again, we're going to probably do a session, kind of a little bit deeper session, actually, kind of editing campaigns and even create, the idea of creating your own if you wanted to do that. Again, any questions, please just unmute yourself and or throw it in chat. So happy to answer anything. So we're actually going to go to back to my people, and I'm going to click on a person. So and this is sort of that a little project that for you to do. So the ideal thing to do is get your people in here, and whether it's 10 or 200 or 2,000, get your people in here. If it's 1 by 1 or import. And really, we want to, at that point to make this the most effective. And it can be hey, I'm going to do it today, or it can be, hey, I'm going to work on it an hour a day, for the next month and get it done. But really, what you need to do, because everyone's different, is bring in your 200 people and literally go 1 by 1. And this is what I do. It's like, all right, who's Wayne? How do I know Wayne? How do I want to contact Wayne? What do I want to do with Wayne? And then finish that one up and go to John. How do I know John? Is he a good friend where I'm not going to send him some generic email that, I just need him in here and maybe a reminder or something, down 1 by 1. So if I kind of think of this, I'm going to click on John, going to bring up his profile, and I'm just going to go through this, and trust me, once you do it once or twice or the 5th time, you're going to be flying through this. So even though it's going to take me a minute here to kind of talk about it, just think, you're going to kind of get like, okay, I know exactly what I want to do with these folks, and it'll go much quicker. But still super important that we think of each person individually. So I'm going to just kind of click through. So I pull up John. I can either call him a client or a non-client. Really doesn't matter, but if you call him a client, to me, every person should be labeled a client because, or, because in my mind, they're potential clients, even good friends and family. So, but totally up to you. But if you come on the left side, so this notes section, you can actually just add notes. So you can add, you know, partners' names, kids' names, dogs' names. If they're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, if they're if they're an investor, they're looking for single families or quads, like whatever. You can put whatever info in here you want. And again, you can pull this up at any point. Maybe you're going to meet John and like, oh, John, man, what's John's partner's name? What's the wife's name? Or man, his kids are going to be there. Like, there's nothing like, kind of showing up at a house or an appointment and being able to go, hi, John, hi, Sue, hi, Jackie, hi, Johnny, whatever, and just kind of, again, stand out. So just a page for you to put whatever info that you want about this person. The activity, it's going to track, if they've opened emails, if you've sent an email, if you've sent a newsletter and they opened it. So it's going to kind of just track everything, throughout, whatever John has done with the system. This faves and saves, you can actually set up a search for them. So you kind of go to your website, set up a search, in a certain area, zip code, condos, single families, whatever, but you can actually set up a search similar to the MLS, but again, it's within the system, which is kind of a bonus. This presentations, if you've ever done a presentation, so we've done a session on Moxie Present. So if you've done, a buyer tour or a CMA for a client, any presentations you've done would actually be in here, or you can see where you can just create one. So you pull up John said, hey, can you do a CMA or, whatever. You can start it here in Moxie Present, or any that you do will be stored here. The next two pieces are really where you can kind of quick do something to start communicating with the folks in your database. And really that's what we want. We want them in the database and we want to be contacting them somehow. And ideally the system does it for us. So I don't need to wake up every morning and go, oh man, I got to go send 30 emails or I got to do that, so, and I mentioned the neighborhood news, which I'm going to show you in a second. But before I do that, you can actually create groups and assign people to groups. So you can, these are your groups. They're not, I'll have my groups, you'll have your groups. You can create as many groups as you want, and they can be buyers, sellers, clients, investors, church, sports, neighbors, like whatever name you want for a group, you can create it. And you can put as many people in the group, and each individual person can be in many groups. So John can be church, school, buyer. He can be in all three groups. And I kind of use the idea of the groups. This is kind of an example I use. Is you wake up this morning and you kind of pull up the hot sheet in the MLS, and there's this great investment property. Whatever, it just catches your eye and you're like, man, I want to send that to my investors. So first of all, having the 10 investors that in your system is step one. They're all right there. Because if I didn't have them in the system, I'd be going through my phone. I'd be like, oh man, who should I send this to? I might remember 3 names, but in my system, they're all going to be there. If they're all labeled investor, I can literally come in the system, click my investor group, and email them the listing or whatever message I want in seconds. So I can just, grab the 10 people, say, hey, check out this listing. And, if I'm up to date and I've made sure, the folks that are investors or that I consider investors are in a group, and, I've met an investor yesterday and I've actually added them, I can then just kind of be like, man, I sent it to all the investors. It was super, super simple because all I had to do was grab my investor group and email. So that's kind of, but you can think of that as you can wake up in the morning and send an email to everyone. You can grab your church people, your neighbors, your, whatever, your buyers, whatever group, and just kind of send one message, and you can just do it in a second. So yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just reading this message in chat. So Andre just mentioned the email campaigns and some good content, but also social. So our number one social platform is the social tool within Leverage. So if you go into Leverage and click marketing and scroll to the bottom, bottom of that section, there's a social, section, and there's a social manager. And in there, you can actually schedule all your social posts out, determine what you can create your own. You can, grab the content that's created there and post the social from that social manager. So hopefully that answered your question. And you can, it's really ideal to mix the two. Is, if you have a campaign or you're going to do a neighborhood news, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then obviously, you want social as well, and then you kind of double hit the folks. And if they, delete the email or don't get it, but yeah, they see it on social or they see both, whatever, but it's ideal to kind of mix the two. So great question though. So, again, this is the platform for, or the profile for each person. Groups, super important, if you want to put them in a group, but now I'm going to just talk about these subscriptions. So I'm going to click this add subscriptions, and there are two of them here. So I would personally do subscriptions for everyone in my database. And I'm going to talk about both. So this listing announcements, if I click this add subscription, what this is going to do is when I get a listing and when I sell it, they're just going to get an email. So they're going to, so it may not be a property in their neighborhood, but I want them to know that I'm active, that I'm actually listing things and selling things. I'm serious about helping them. I need them to remember me. So super simple to just come in here, and I will show you how we could actually do this in mass. So if we kind of just wanted to do this quick, we could do it in mass and not have to do it individually. But I love the idea of I list a property and my 200 people just get an email that says, hey, Wayne listed 123 Main Street. And then when it sells, hey, Wayne sold 123 Main Street. And, simple to do, a one click to get it done. But yet you can just imagine 200 people, you list 5 properties, throughout the year. That's 1,000 just listed emails and 1,000 just sold go out. So that's 2,000 contacts with your database, and that's listing 5 properties throughout the year. So I love the idea of the listing announcements. But by far my favorite is this neighborhood news. So and I would highly suggest adding yourself in the system and doing anything that you want to do. When you think about, do I really want to send this? Do I really want to send this? What's a campaign look like when it comes into, my person's inbox? Add yourself in just do things. And then when you get the email, okay, so that's what the neighborhood news looks like when my person gets it. So don't be afraid to add yourself, and then kind of use yourself as a tester. But neighborhood news, so you can actually, if it works, you can just assign a zip code. So if I just do a quick zip code, whatever zip code you put in here, scroll down and hit done, they will get, they'll be signed up for a neighborhood news. So real quick, before I even go to the custom one, neighborhood news, monthly email monthly newsletter to whoever you assign it to. It pulls data from the MLS. So, hey, this is what's happening in this zip code or this targeted area. And I can kind of show you an example of that. So here's what's listed, here's what's pending, here's what's sold. And then it just mixes in, things about the home, anything from interest rates to, doing work, should you refi, should you, if you did a new kitchen, what would that do for the value of your house? So it's really a great newsletter. And the one thing I said earlier, and I'll keep saying it, so very important that if we're going to email someone something, that it's of value. So neighborhood news, very high open rate, first of all, in very, very low unsubscribe rate. So so John to Curtains, he's an agent with us in Cincinnati. And last I knew, I think he's got about 100 folks on neighborhood news, and his open rate is in the 70% range. So 70% of his, you send out 100 emails, over 70 people are actually opening it up. Oh, that's right. John's a real estate agent. John's given me data that that has to do with my house. Period. Even if I'm not looking to sell, I care I care what's happening in the neighborhood. I care about the value of my house. So it's really a great thing when you think about that. So and again, this one goes out monthly. So I assign it. And I can just wake up every morning going, oh, I probably, I sent out 5 neighborhood news today. And then tomorrow, oh, I sent out 5 more neighborhood news, and again, you don't have to do anything once you've set it up. But high open rate, low unsubscribe. So it's really a great piece. So if just to kind of show you guys, if the zip code, doesn't really work, or you want to be a little bit more specific, you can go to this targeted search. This is actually just like a search if you were looking for 3-bedroom, 2 baths. So you could get detailed in within a zip code, within a price range, the beds and baths. And then, if you just wanted to do condos and things like that. So you can kind of break it down a little bit more. Kind of neat. If I just, I can put the schools, let's just do public schools. We could probably do both, but that'll take a while, so I'm not going to bother. But so one thing that you can do if you're kind of want to get specific for for this one person, is you can kind of do a quick draw and just draw a circle. Be like, well, that's what I want this person to know about, and it will just let them know. So the data that gets pulled from the MLS and stuff, it'll be just what happens in that circle. Sorry, I got the cue going. I should have reset it. But so again, just the idea, you can get as detailed as literally one street if you want to. I mean, you could, scroll this in and move the map, and if that one street just was that specific, you can get down to one street. You can draw a big circle. You can do the zip code. You can do it by price. So you can get as detailed as you want. But even John will say that if he just does the zip code, he has people, they can change it. They can adjust it when they get that first email. He has people adjusting it. He'll get a message back like, oh, Sue changed her area from this zip code to this zip code or whatever. So it really ends up getting them engaged more than just an email, look at it, delete it. So it's pretty cool to be able to, kind of follow the neighborhood news, and if they choose to update it, or if they're opening it again, you get those messages. So neighborhood news, awesome way to just hey, I want to get something to someone. Definitely sign them up for neighborhood news. So I mentioned being able to do things in mass. So just know, if I assign a neighborhood news in mass, it can only be one search. So I can't, so I don't know if it is value, but I'm going to just kind of show you. So I only have 3 people in here. I just use this one as a test one, but I'm going to hit select all. So just think, hey, this is 200 people. What can I do with these 200 people? You can actually just come up to this add to, and you can put all 200 in a group. You can, assign a campaign to all 200. You can do a neighborhood news. So whether you do it quick, which is a zip code, or do a custom one, you can do that listing announcements. So you can put all 200 people in here, select all, click that listing announcements, and just like that, all 200 people are going to get that email when you list a property, get the email when you sell it. And then just, if you kind of wanted to, call a group up, kind of pass out. You're probably not going to do that with all of them, but this initial piece, can be valuable if you kind of want to just get something done and kind of get it done quick. So that's just a way to, be able to do a few things in mass. If you wanted to find a group, so you just search, do test contacts. So if you were looking for your investor group, type in investor, click on the investor group. This is going to be your group. And then of course, at that point, you can hit select all and then, email the investor group, whatever. So just a a few things that are designed to, help us and make it a little bit quicker, or, of course, grabbing something and being able to do it quick with a group email, campaign, whatever, that's ideal as well. So yeah, great question, Andre. So let me just do this. So when I go, Andre just asked about assigning a mass neighborhood news. So if I was to click neighborhood news and do quick, so this still may be quicker in than clicking on each one if you're going to do zip codes. So, your 200 people would be listed here, and it can be different. So, I can do a different one, or I could, pick one and then just, if I just, picked one zip code and did it all the way down. So, so you have the ability, like all of your people would be here and you can go one by one and just, still a quicker than maybe clicking on a person, assigning a neighborhood news, saving it, go to the next person. If you kind of knew it, or again, to get something going out, if you're in a general area in Cincinnati or one of our markets, assigning one zip code to start getting something out there, it isn't the worst idea, maybe even until you go one by one. Because again, they can adjust it, they can change it, tweak it, whatever, if they choose to. But that's what happens when you go to assign a mass neighborhood news. All right. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today. If anyone else, I'm going to pause for a minute, but if anyone else has any questions, if you, kind of are in here for the first time as you're going along, this is recorded, so it'll be in the Agent Hub Learning Library. You can, of course, just rewatch this if there's something you wanted with that. You can always reach out if you have any questions, as you're kind of digging a little bit deeper into it. Yeah, but definitely starts with your sphere, that Excel spreadsheet, or adding folks one by one, whichever you choose to. But everyone that that you would think, hey, if they know I sell real estate, I would expect them to remember me. They need to be in this system, and then it never ends. You're gonna meet someone tomorrow. You're gonna think of someone tomorrow. Not that you have to come in immediately and add that person, but I will write down a name, just a little side sheet, add to engage, you know, and just, you know, put some names on it so that it, you know, maybe once a week I add one person or 5 people, whatever, because I kind of want this to always be my core. You can always export, you know, export out of here. So, you know, the folks are yours. No one else has access to them. So, you know, you can always have that, you know, that one spreadsheet that's just yours, but you're working them in the system. So I'm going to pause for a second. Any other questions? Hopefully it's valuable. All right.
Hey Wayne, quick
Yeah, oh yeah.
question. Um, if someone uses, let's say, like the contact page on the website, does it automatically put them into here, or will we then have to also come in and put them in?
They will come in the system.
Okay.
Yep. So that's yeah, and I'm actually in the process of kind of learning a little bit more about, you know, exactly who will come in the system, or if we can bring folks in the system automatically. So I actually have a call set up for hopefully this week. Their schedule's a little crazy, but I'm hoping to squeeze it in this week, if not early next, to kind of get a little bit more detail on that. But yeah, the website will come in.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Awesome. No, great. Thank you, Andre. Great questions. Thank you guys so much. If you need anything, you know, please don't hesitate to reach out. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day.